Hey, Thunder Poke is here. Today I'll recap a 1994 movie, named The Chase. In starting of the film, we see Jack. He arrives at a gas station in a 1989 silver Volkswagen, and he heads into the convenience store. Inside, he buys a candy and a lottery ticket while a woman reading a magazine. Jack notices her before a police car arrives, making him uneasy due to a problem with the cash register. The woman and the officers queue up ahead of him. Suddenly, the police hear on their radio that a 1989 silver Volkswagen Rabbit has been stolen, raising suspicion on Jack. In a bid to escape, Jack grabs the woman, pretending to have a gun with his candy bar, and instructs the cashier to disarm the officers. Once armed, Jack swaps his candy for a real pistol, orders everyone to the ground, and flees with the woman. Meanwhile, a film crew documenting police activity joins officers Dos and Figgis in their pursuit of a hijacked red BMW with Jack and the woman inside. Jack instructs the woman to drive while he removes his jacket, promising to release her when it's safe. However, she continues to whimper in distress. Jack ignites a cigarette lighter while questioning the woman about her expensive car. She tearfully explains that her father gifted it to her. Suddenly, she snatches the lighter from the socket and burns Jack on the neck, leading to his outburst. As they fumble with the lighter, accidentally dropping it and filling the car with smoke, officers Dos and Figgis spot them. Jack commands the woman to retrieve the lighter, but she tosses it out the window, infuriating Jack further as he can no longer smoke. A high-speed pursuit ensues. Meanwhile, Dos expresses concern for the woman's safety in the documentary, emphasizing the urgency of keeping the BMW in sight. Amidst the chaotic chase, the producer casually interviews the officers about their job satisfaction. Dos compares being a cop to a blend of Bruce Springsteen and Sylvester Stallone, relishing the comparison. Back in the BMW, the woman informs Jack of her nausea and requests him to slow down. However, Jack insists on maintaining speed, advising her to lean out the window to vomit. She follows his instructions, inadvertently striking Dos' car. Figgis calls for backup, only to learn that all available units are attending a funeral. Meanwhile, at the police station, Chief Bo is informed that the car belongs to Miss Natalie Voss, the daughter of Dalton Voss, California's wealthiest man. In response, Chief Bo demands 20 cars be deployed, including those from the funeral procession. Dos remarks to the producer that they've struck gold with the unfolding events. Inside the car, Jack informs Natalie that they're heading to Mexico to evade capture, prompting her to plead for him to let her go. As they accelerate onto the freeway, Dos becomes agitated by the heightened stakes. A news helicopter covering a separate event spots the chase and broadcasts it live. Suddenly, they encounter a medical school truck swerving uncontrollably, spilling cadavers onto the freeway, with one landing on Dos' car amid Natalie's intermittent screams. Jack experiences moments of panic. She implores him to put away the gun, suggesting he's more likable without it. But he remains skeptical. Eventually, Jack complies, and Natalie reveals her identity as Natalie Voss, causing Jack to realize the potential implications of her abduction. Despite Jack's attempts to reassure himself, Natalie reminds him of her presence, underscoring the gravity of the situation. Simultaneously, news outlets report on Natalie Voss's abduction, speculating it may be for ransom. At the police station, Dalton Voss arrives with his new wife, confronting Chief Bo in anger upon discovering Jack's criminal history, including an armed bank robbery and prison escape. Dos expresses concern while the producer sees it as a stroke of luck. The officers label Jack as a lunatic, creep, and dangerous, reflecting on the escalating tension of the situation. Jack notices the police drawing their weapons, prompting him to fire at a tire on a police car, causing it to overturn. News reports speculate that Jack, due to his accurate shooting, might be an ex-Marine. But Jack himself is surprised by his aim, as he didn't intend to shoot. He confesses to Natalie that he despises violence, but she perceives him as embodying it. Frustrated, Jack grabs her wrist, asserting that while he's driven to violence, he's not inherently violent. Eventually, Natalie calms down and questions Jack's true identity. He reveals he was wrongfully convicted and expresses resignation, expecting disbelief from her as well. When Chief Bo calls, demanding Jack pull over, Jack refuses. Dalton intervenes, offering money, but Jack declines, prompting Dalton to blame Natalie, who apologizes. Jack intervenes, scolding Dalton for blaming his daughter, and hangs up. Natalie, astonished by Jack's defiance, reveals her strained relationships with her father and stepmother, expressing her desire to leave them. Jack's attorney calls, offering to help if Jack stops, but Jack declines, acknowledging his innocence but unable to comply. Despite the tension, Jack and Natalie find solace in each other's company, sharing a moment of camaraderie as they sing along to the radio. Natalie, feeling remorseful for Jack's plight, witnesses his frustration when a news reporter calls asking about his plans once he runs out of gas. Jack, angered by the voyeurism, emphasizes that Natalie's fear and his desperation should not be entertainment. Meanwhile, law enforcement agencies are mobilizing near the Mexican border. In the car, Natalie offers Jack some gum and inquires about his reasons for fleeing. Jack recounts an incident where he was wrongfully implicated in a bank robbery while working as a clown for children's parties. Despite being innocent, flawed evidence led to his arrest and conviction. Natalie tries to imagine Jack as a clown when a dramatic encounter with a monster truck unfolds, narrowly avoiding a collision. Simultaneously, Jack's attorney, Ari, explains in an interview how flawed evidence led to Jack's wrongful conviction. Despite having a different blood type from the real robber, improper handling of evidence invalidated it in court. Natalie, understanding Jack's situation better, believes his story. Meanwhile, a news van attempts to capture Natalie's condition, but a sudden maneuver by the driver causes the cameraman to drop the camera. Later, Natalie confides in Jack about her past relationships, expressing disappointment in her previous boyfriends. She also admits feeling like a mess herself, but Jack reassures her, recognizing her sophistication from their initial encounter at the gas station. Reflecting on their first interaction, Natalie mentions Jack pressing what she thought was a gun into her back. Jack reveals it was just a candy bar, leading to laughter as they share the candy. Despite the outward appearance of calm, the news comments on Natalie's likely internal turmoil. She tends to Jack, humanizing him. Sincerely, Natalie then admits to feeling a unique connection with Jack and asks about his relationship status. Jack admits he's single, prompting Natalie to express her burgeoning feelings, kissing him passionately as she climbs onto his lap while he drives. Meanwhile, Figgis notes their proximity to the border, while Dos irritably questions Jack's erratic driving. As they approach the border, Natalie suggests using her father's wealth to escape, which Jack entertains. She finds the situation romantic. As they arrive at the border, Jack maneuvers skillfully to avoid obstacles, eventually leading the police on a chaotic chase through an oil field. Despite the exhilaration of the moment, news commentators express hope for Jack's lengthy imprisonment for his defiance of law enforcement. Jack questions Natalie about her seriousness in joining him, and she confirms her excitement about becoming fugitives together. However, Jack abruptly halts the car surrounded by police. Dos and Figgis demand Jack's surrender, but Jack, caring deeply for Natalie, decides not to involve her in his predicament. Natalie is saddened as Jack places the gun in her purse, expressing gratitude for her belief in him, and instructing her to leave with tears in her eyes. Natalie steps out of the car as Jack kisses her hand. Vegas escorts her to safety behind a police car, emphasizing her fortunate survival. Dos expresses a desire for Jack to make a move so he can shoot him. Meanwhile, Jack reflects on the day's events and imagines a dramatic confrontation with the police, only to ultimately surrender peacefully as Jack is arrested. Dalton arrives and punches him. The documentary crew captures the chaos while Natalie attempts to convince Dalton of Jack's innocence, to no avail. Taking matters into her own hands, Natalie grabs the gun from her purse, fires a shot, and takes the producer hostage, demanding Jack's release. After a standoff, the police reluctantly comply, allowing Jack and Natalie to escape in a news channel helicopter. Dalton is left speechless as they flee, while Jack's lawyer, Ari, watches the events unfold with amusement on TV. In the final scene, Jack and Natalie are seen enjoying a sunny beach in Mexico, suggesting they have found peace together. With that, the film ends here.